Okay, so did you know that you're actually altering your IQ every single day, right up until the minute your head hits the pillow? Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely pumped to guide you through this one because, well, we're tackling something that impacts literally every single one of us. Let's just dive right in. We usually think of our intelligence, our IQ, as this totally fixed, static trait. Like you're born with a certain amount of brain power and that's just the hand you're dealt for the rest of your life, right? Actually, scratch that. As we'll see today through some incredibly fascinating insights, that's completely false. Your intelligence is something you are actively shaping every single day. I want you to really think about this for a second. Have you felt your focus kind of slipping lately? Do you find that your memory is just a little slower than it used to be? Or maybe your mind feels constantly pulled toward distractions, even when you're trying really hard to concentrate. We usually just brush these things off. We blame it on being tired or stressed out from a long week. But the source material we're unpacking today looks at this entirely differently. It frames it as this silent, invisible decline. It's a slow fade in cognitive ability that most people don't even realize is happening until they're totally caught in its grip.
The whole core of our explainer today boils down to this one really powerful takeaway. It's not because they were born unintelligent. It's because of small daily habits repeated over and over again. I absolutely love how empowering but also kind of cautionary that is. If your IQ feels low or if your brain feels foggy, it's not your genetics letting you down. No way. It's actually the surprising cumulative result of repetitive everyday actions. Basically, your habits are either building your brain up or they're actively tearing it down.
So how do we stop this decline? Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at your brain's hidden decline. Then we'll dive into the social media trap, the sleep deprivation danger, and the myth of multitasking. Finally, we'll wrap the whole thing up with reclaiming your cognitive power. Starting us off with Section 1, your brain's hidden decline and the daily battle for your intelligence.
I want you to think of your brain not like a computer hard drive where data just sits there permanently, but more like a muscle. It's a muscle that is constantly changing its shape and strength based on exactly how you use it. Every single day, your brain exists in this binary state. It's either getting stronger or it's getting weaker. There's no magical middle ground where it just stays exactly the same. And this is all based on neuroplasticity, the fact that our neural pathways are constantly reorganizing themselves. When you do the right things, you're actively building cognitive strength. But when you fall victim to the habits we're about to look at, your brain is literally atrophying. Your memory slows down, your focus gets weaker, and honestly, the most dangerous part? Because this happens in such tiny, little incremental shifts every day, most people never even notice the change until their mind is completely addicted to low-effort distractions.
Which brings us to Section 2, the social media trap, why deep thinking feels boring. Let's walk through this distraction loop step by step because it's wild. Step 1, you endlessly scroll short videos. Now, it seems totally harmless, right? Just a quick laugh, maybe a 15-second distraction. But that rapidly leads to Step 2. Your brain quickly gets used to instant entertainment. Every single time you swipe and see something funny or shocking, your brain gets a tiny little hit of dopamine. It essentially learns that it doesn't have to work hard at all to get a really potent reward, which drops us right into Step 3. Your brain starts craving constant stimulation. You've effectively rewired your brain's expectations just through the simple, repetitive act of scrolling. The baseline for what actually entertains you is now extraordinarily high, and your tolerance for boredom? Yeah, it's practically zero. So over time, as your attention span shrinks from that endless barrage of instant entertainment, you try to transition back to deep thinking. You try studying or reading a book, analyzing complex data at work, or even just sitting quietly with a difficult problem. But because of your newly elevated baseline for dopamine and stimulation, these crucial intelligence-building tasks start to feel, well, painfully boring. Your addicted brain literally cannot handle the lack of flashing lights, fast cuts, and instant gratification. It's completely starved for novelty, which makes sustained concentration feel physically uncomfortable. And here is the absolutely crucial bottom line. Without focus, intelligence becomes weaker. Intelligence isn't just about memorizing facts. It's the ability to hold complex ideas in your mind long enough to actually connect them. The more distracted your mind gets, the harder it is to think clearly and solve difficult problems. You just can't maintain a high IQ or grow your cognitive abilities if your brain is constantly buzzing, desperately looking for its next 10-second entertainment fix. A distracted mind simply cannot think deeply. Period.
Moving on to Section 3, the sleep deprivation danger, the high cost of resting less.
Man, we see this everywhere these days, don't we?
bragging about sleeping only 4 or 5 hours a night. People treat sleep deprivation like it's some sort of ultimate productivity badge of honor in modern hustle culture. They wear their exhaustion like a trophy, boldly claiming they're outworking everyone else while the rest of the world sleeps. But the source material makes this crystal clear. This habit is actively making you mentally weak. Lack of sleep is seriously, measurably damaging your brain structure over time. It is the exact opposite of being productive. It's basically cognitive self-sabotage.
Think about it this way. When you get proper rest, your brain's internal IT department goes to work. Sleep isn't just downtime. It's a critical period of restorative magic. First off, your brain physically repairs itself. During deep sleep, the brain actually flushes out toxic byproducts that build up while you're awake. Next, it works to lock in and store the memories and information you've picked up throughout the day. And finally, it completely resets your mental energy for the next morning. If you cut this process short to just 4 hours, you are essentially pulling the plug on the computer while the system is only halfway through its most critical daily updates.
And when you don't take that repair process seriously, the direct consequences are severe. Your reaction time slows way down, your memory gets significantly worse, and even simple, everyday tasks suddenly become so much harder to complete because the prefrontal cortex, which is the logical, decision-making center of your brain, becomes heavily impaired. Connect this directly back to cognitive decline. A tired brain is physically incapable of thinking clearly, regulating emotions, or making smart decisions. If you're chronically under-rested, you are artificially lowering your own intelligence every single day. No joke.
Section 4. The myth of multitasking and the illusion of productivity.
Okay, so we've all been convinced at some point that doing 5 things at once makes us superhuman. But it turns out we've kind of been lied to. Switching tasks forces your brain to constantly reset its attention. Think about the severe mental tax of what that actually means in the real world. You jump from a text message, over to a short video, to an open app, and then try to jump back to your deep work. Every single time you bounce from one context to another, your brain has to completely halt, clear the deck, and start all over again. Psychologists actually call this attention residue, meaning part of your brain is still stuck on the previous task while you're desperately trying to focus on the new one. Most people think this rapid switching makes them highly productive, but in reality, it actively destroys concentration.
A distracted brain severely weakens your ability to focus, making learning anything new significantly harder. Your thoughts get fragmented, and you just never reach that depth of thought required to truly master complex information. But a focused brain? That is where real intelligence lives. The source is super clear on this. A scattered brain struggles to learn and adapt, while a brain that can lock in on a single task builds robust neural connections. It becomes far smarter and much more efficient over time.
Which brings us to our final section. Section 5, Reclaiming Your Cognitive Power. Building Mental Strength. So we know the traps now. We know that endless short videos, chronic sleep deprivation, and relentless multitasking are slowly killing our IQ. But the ultimate antidote to all of these habits is one incredibly powerful concept: deep focus. Deep focus is defined as one of the most important skills for becoming smarter and actually retaining information. If your brain is a muscle, deep focus is the heavy lifting. It means intentionally putting the phone in another room so you can read without a single buzz or ping. It means prioritizing a full night's sleep so you actually have the biological energy required to concentrate. And it means ruthlessly doing one task at a time, allowing your brain to fully immerse itself without constantly hitting that mental reset button. Deep focus is exactly how you achieve actual, lasting cognitive growth.
I want to leave you with this provocative question today. Which of these 3 daily habits is currently holding your IQ back? Is it the instant entertainment loop of social media that's frying your dopamine receptors? Is it wearing sleep deprivation like a badge of honor while your brain literally starves for recovery? Or is it that grand illusion that multitasking is somehow making you more productive? Intelligence isn't fixed. It is built or lost daily. Take a hard look at your routines today, identify your personal cognitive kryptonite, and start building that deep focus. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I absolutely can't wait to see you next time.